there are 164 new insider trades filed, a slightly less bullish day than we'd had to start the month of November, but still right at that 10-year median, with about 1/3 of the unscheduled trades coming in being buys. So let's go take a look at some of this insider trade data. As I mentioned, you can see here, similar number of trades, a little bit fewer than we had the last couple of days, but still, well above 150. But as you can see, the percent of those trades that were buys coming down a little bit, but still right at that median, that 33% median. As you can see, getting a start here on the month of November, we can see that we are slightly above where October was, which October was already a very, very bullish month, going back to the most bullish month since the tariff situation back in April. As you can see, taking a look at our rolling sentiment here, you can see we hit a little bit of a dip here over the last day, still well above the bullish kind of threshold there, but we hit a little bit of a dip, but that is just because at the beginning of August, I mean, this bar right here just rolled off, and so now because we lost that bar, obviously, and now we have still a handful the next few weeks thereafter. The beginning of August, very bullish. The next few weeks of August and the beginning of September, less bullish. However, we should see, assuming that the next couple of weeks come in somewhere above this median threshold here, like we've been seeing so far. Obviously, the last couple of weeks have been very bullish. If that continues, we're going to see this just kind of turn right back around and start heading up again. So overall, nothing to worry about. Kind of exactly what we expected. The S&P came down. It did actually get below that 50-day for a second and then just kind of rocketed right back up, which is sort of what we expected, and also was what the insiders had been. Their positioning was telling us. They were, as we mentioned, they had been very bullish, a very bullish October, very bullish start to November. So they clearly were expecting a strong end of the year as well, and we're not too worried about that little dip we had there. So going to CEOWatcher.com, we can take a look at a handful of these trades. Remember you should go to CEOWatcher.com and sign up there so you get on the daily email, which you'll automatically get put on so that you get notes on all of the top new insider trades each morning, and you'll get them faster than this one. One other thing actually that we did want to look at to start today, taking a look at the Discord, we added this new CEO Trades channel, so you can get real-time alerts if you join this channel, or you automatically join the channel if you are a CEO Watcher Premium member, but if you turn on alerts for this channel, it's only going to alert you when CEOs make trades. And the reason being, we've seen some pretty good pops by large CEO purchases so far this year, and a couple today that are no exception. We've got right here at 9:20 a.m. PENN Entertainment. If we go to PENN and let's hit so as you can see, the stock opened at 1503 and is now up to 1582. So 1582 over 1503. So up about 5% since market opened. And it was even below that when we found the trade here. When that alert came in at 920 or whatever, it was actually even a little bit below. It was a few percent below that $15 mark. So up about 6 or 7% since this alert came in. And then obviously up 5% since the market opened. And then a similar situation here. This came in right at market open for Lattice Semiconductor. Again, that came in at 931, which is literally right when it opened. So it opened at 65.67 and it is currently at 68.48. So 65.67. We've got a nice little 4% pop there as well. So in both scenarios, like we mentioned, just any large insider purchases have been getting a little bit of traction here, which is why we set up this Discord channel. And so another reason, go to CEOWatcher.com, sign up, and if you upgrade to premium, you can get access to the Discord channel. Not going to work forever, but for right now in this market, those insider purchases, those CEO purchases have been just pretty easy, quick little pickups there, which has been nice. So now let's go take a look at the purchases here. Transaction value, all works. All right, starting at the top here, we are not actually going to start at the top. We're going to move right past this first one just because 10% owner, just not very interested in it there. Vivek Ramaswamy, obviously, everybody probably knows who that is, taking a stake here in Strive, or buying a little bit more. It looks like he's buying the preferred stock, which again, we typically tend to skip over this. It looks like it was also part of a public offering, so all of this is going to make this a pretty easy skip here. Yeah, again, so I mean, $80 obviously, because it's not just the common shares that everybody else is buying. It's just a different instrument here, and historically speaking, a much lower track record, much worse track record on those non-common stock instruments. I mean, Kind of interesting that it's his first ever purchase in the open market. Bought $1 million, but not interesting enough for us to take a deeper look there. Empire Petroleum, a couple of purchases by the same CEO here, so I don't know why. We'll take a look, see if we can see. So it looks like he had some stock options that this is kind of an odd setup here. The options vested in 3 installments. So it's saying he bought, I don't know what exactly is going on here. It's saying that he both bought and that he converted these options. So I'm not 100% sure why they're phrasing it like that. To me, it looks like he probably was granted these options. I mean, I guess maybe they're just, in this filing specifically, they're saying that these options vested and he is now paying for them, buying them. But it's kind of interesting regardless, because he is still both buying common stock, it appears, but on top of that, he's not selling, it doesn't look like, the stock options that came in. Let's go see what else is going on with this guy though. So then now we've got somebody else selling the equivalent stock here. So I don't know exactly what these guys are doing. Anytime you see something like this, I would assume that the CEO here is selling the stock to the director here, would be my guess. I don't know why they would have the exact same values and amounts and stuff. So my guess would be the CEO is selling to the exec director here. I don't really know why. Kind of a very odd situation there. So that's one that would require quite a bit more digging, which I'm not going to do on here. It doesn't seem like a good use of time. But then also, just for me, I'm looking for simpler situations than that, normally speaking. So probably not even going to spend any time looking into that anymore. We've got another 10% owner buying here, which we tend to skip. Another 10% owner there. This Exio group here looks like they just IPO'd, which again, one reason why you have to dig through these a little bit is we can see they don't mark it in the footnotes here, but at $21 exactly a share can give you a hint. And then you see a bunch of insiders buying. They all bought at the exact same dollar amount. And then we can see that they closed a public offering. So a bunch of insiders just buying as part of an IPO. Again, not a situation for us to normally look into, but maybe an IPO worth looking at. It is nice to see at least the insiders participating in the IPO, even if, historically not the highest signal there. NBT Bank Corp, we've looked at plenty of banks and we're kind of annoyed of all the bank insider buying going on, but it is the most bullish industry right now. We've seen the most bullish insider buying at banks, so not surprising to see it. This guy buying right at $41, a director, no notes on that one, so perfectly good purchase there. Looks like he also just bought a couple days ago. Looks like the stock hasn't really moved a ton, down a little bit in the last year, 13%. Looking historically at the insiders buying, not the greatest timing on either buying or selling. I mean, I guess the selling picked up a little bit up here, but I don't know if that's really a good enough signal. So we'll go take a look at Timothy Delaney himself. $400,000 is not his largest purchase, so right in the middle of his 2 previous purchases. If we look at his previous returns, only 1 previous purchase with a return, 27% though, pretty good. This one probably fits right at like a 4 out of 5 rating. Good returns, but only 1 previous purchase. He did, obviously, now he's bought the stock a couple of times in the last week. The stock is down a little bit, so all of that is nice to see. So if we go take a quick look at the bank itself, well, we'll start here, down 13% as we mentioned. Just popped above the 20-day, but still kind of flirting around underneath the 50-day. So this is another one like pretty easily, especially with these all so close to each other. I would just, or the 50 and the 200 at least so close to each other, I would probably not even be really interested until I just saw it get above all of them pretty much. No need trying to pitch it in between these and just run the risk of it just like bouncing back and forth between them all the time. So that's probably what I would wait here before I even took a stab, unless obviously you have some catalyst you believe that's going to cause it to shoot through all those. But as of right now, I wouldn't know of any of those. Obviously, if we go take a look, let's just see historically some value, maybe on the lower end of the historical price to book value. So that would be something. And obviously on the price to earnings, though, normally probably use price to book value. So looks like maybe a little undervalued here. We do have the insider buying, $2 billion bank here. Would probably want to see these get into a more clear uptrend before taking a stab at it. But overall, a pretty compelling insider purchase. I think as far as banks go, again, just not super interested in banks, but worth taking a deeper look if you are a bank investor, that one. Taking a look here, is this a SPAC or no? An acquisition corp? No, but a direct lending corp, which is another one just not very interesting normally. Don't know if they're trying to attach a text file. That's not how you do that. But CEO buying the stock at $14.22. Do like to see CEOs buying the stock. I wonder if this one actually caught a pop. It's a lending corp, kind of a capital markets company, which normally wouldn't not as interesting to most people, but $284,000 is nothing to sneeze at. NCDL here. So yeah, so didn't get a pop here. This is just a closed-end fund, as I mentioned, capital markets. This would be one that you would insider buying at any sort of like REIT or capital market fund or anything like that. Even if it's a CEO purchase, would be one that's not even worth paying much attention to. But so in this case, this is going to be a pretty easy skip across the board. Industry we don't care about, and it doesn't even work for kind of large CEO purchases because of the industry that it is in there. Looking at Cimpress now, take a look here. Very normal purchase, kind of all around the $61-$62 mark for the CFO. If we look historically, only his third ever purchase, which is interesting. Many more sales, 8% increase on this purchase, 42% on this one in the 6 months, up 23% now. It looks like that one will be, stock must be down a little bit, faded out just a tiny bit, I guess. If we can see, he kind of stopped his selling here. He flipped a pretty good selling here up at the top, turned off selling, and has now been buying sort of at the bottom. So overall, a pretty compelling setup by this guy. Just not too many previous purchases, obviously, but it is seeing him turn off selling to turn on buying now with a good track record. Granted, only on 2 previous purchases, but a good track record. Also a sizable sale, or sizable purchase, largest purchase ever, actually. If we look at the stock itself here, we can see somebody else actually did just sell the stock. Meriton, however you pronounce that. Terrible track record on this guy. Let's see if it looks like just a normal sale. So definitely don't like to see a different insider selling when this insider is buying. However, I would probably rank the CFO here's insider purchase above, who is this, the CTO? Above the CTO because of their respective track records that we can see there. So Cimpress is a services company. Let's go see what kind of services company. A more interesting situation from a technical standpoint, as we can see, well above the 20 or 200 day here, and looks like it's been kind of bouncing off the 50 as we get up. Sort of fighting with the 50 right now, though it looks like it is nicely above that after a 7% day today, which is a pretty big move in the commercial services industry. So overall, the technicals are actually pretty decent. You'd obviously want to keep an eye on it and just make sure it's sticking above the 50 day there. Let's go take a look at historical valuations. Looks like we're trading on certainly the lower end of EV/EBITDA multiple, or even EV sales, kind of whichever you want to use. I don't know what's going on with this price to earnings and this book value down here, but EV/EBITDA looks like relatively cheap. I mean, overall, what more could you really ask for, right? Now the next thing would be just trying to identify the story here, obviously, but besides that, everything looks pretty good. Good earnings, good, or not, I don't know, we'll see if they have good earnings, but good technicals, good value, low valuation, which is good to see. A relatively high signal insider purchase, obviously a slight negative there because of the insider sell as well, but I don't think that's too concerning. Let's see, 4% organic growth. They're just talking about some of their different things. 12% EBITDA, highest ever Q1 EBITDA. Nice to see. Gross profit up a little bit. Advertising spend down a little bit, which would improve advertising efficiency. That's kind of nice. Seasonal working capital outflow and higher CapEx. Reiterated a whole bunch of guidance. Nothing else really too interesting there. Yeah, you'd want to take a closer look, obviously, as you turn this into a long-term position. But this is kind of, the Stanley Druckenmiller approach here is just that things look good. Insider purchases, the top of the funnel looks good. Insider purchase looks good. Technicals kind of look good. Valuation looks pretty low. Worth probably taking a stab and then going back and doing some more research there if this fits into your portfolio, obviously. So a pretty high signal insider purchase on that one as well. A very interesting one there. So you should go to CEOwatcher.com, join there, get on the daily email. You can get on the Discord, all that fun stuff. Look through all the insider purchases yourself. We have notifications coming soon where you'll be able to set custom notifications on here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.